Welcome to the INFOWARS Nightly News. I'm your host, Jakari Jackson. It's March 25th, 2015, and here's a look at our top stories.
Tonight, Apple wants you to get accustomed to real-time tracking. Plus, the government wells are running dry as California runs out of water. And cybersecurity pioneer John McAfee reveals how the police Big Brother system remotely steals your data. All that plus much more up next on the INFOWARS Nightly News.
As people prepare to pay $12,000 for an Apple Watch, I'm very curious if these people are aware of these real-time tracking features that could be found there within. Apple wants you to get accustomed to real-time tracking. A patent granted to the company on Tuesday by the government describes a process that allows a user of mobile devices to view a visual representation of the movements of a person with another device. And it gives the example, let's say you have a friend that's on a hiking trip, or this is how they spin it, or your kids are out, maybe a first date, some type of situation, and you want to keep track of their movements, of their activities. You could use this to track that. But at the same time, these things could be hacked, as most things can, to track your everyday movements. And I remember it was years ago. I was with a friend, and this is before, I guess, smartphones, back when people had the other phones, so I guess you would call them dumb phones or whatever else. And he says, hey, I can show you on my phone your position. And of course, I was standing right next to him, but these were the tracking features that they had 5-6 years ago. It's amazing how much these things have been updated. And we'll be talking about this and so much more when we talk to John McAfee coming up at the end of our show. He's going to be telling us about stingrays and other ways people can gather your information. Now let's talk about the water wars, the ongoing drought that's in California. And we have an article by shtfplan.com, and the author tells us that as the drought gets worse and worse, the prices of food are going to go up and up. And it only makes sense. And now he's saying that we could end up in a situation where people actually are fighting over water. And we also have a similar situation here in the state of Texas, where we have an ongoing drought. Even though we've had a lot of rain recently, we do have an ongoing drought. So this is something to be concerned about. What exactly can be done about it, I'm not exactly sure. But I don't think paying carbon taxes is the answer for that. Let's talk about Monsanto. Monsanto, when we're talking about the food in California, you have an organization like Monsanto who say that they're here for the earth, they're all about the people and all this other warm and fuzzy crap. Meanwhile, they're saying that you can't know what's in your food, that putting a label on a can of soup, for example, would cost the soup manufacturers way too much money. But think about this. When you have a genetically modified food, you have a bag of potato chips or whatever else, every time there's a big blockbuster movie or some type of sporting event, they change the packaging for that. But Monsanto said that's too much. And now Monsanto is asking the World Health Organization to retract a cancer link. It says just days after the World Health Organization's International Agency for Research on Cancer released a report publicly declaring the well-known link between Monsanto's Roundup herbicide and cancer, the GMO Leviathan is already calling for the entire agency to issue a retraction. And Monsanto said the World Health Organization has something to explain. Well, maybe it's Monsanto that should be doing some explaining when we talk about the rats, for example. You guys probably recall that very famous study, I believe 2012, the rats eating GMO food and they get these huge cancer tumors. As far as I know, that's never been debunked by Monsanto or anybody else. And it's always this argument or non-argument that the debate is settled. This is a fact. This is what it's going to be. Just like when they came to, or should I say the biotech industry came to South by Southwest this past year, and they were supposed to have a debate with an anti-GMO group. At the last minute, they pull an audible, say, no, anti-GMO group, you're not going to be able to come to our discussion and debate with us. We're just going to sit up here and tell everybody how great our products are. So these are the type of tricks that they play and things that you need to watch out for. Something else you need to watch out for, what could potentially happen to you in your next traffic stop.
They were trying to kill me, especially when they had choked me, I was on my last breath. I had told the officer, please, I can't breathe.
Dent was not armed and no gun was found in his car. After the arrest, police Police discovered Dent was driving on a suspended license. They also say they found a baggie of crack cocaine under the passenger seat.
They planted that stuff in my car.
And the full video is too long to show, but you can go to the article and see these things for yourselves. I just want to point out some of the facts or debate some of these facts that the officers put out. So first of all, they say the man was trying to flee from the scene. And I will say, yes, the gentleman did appear to keep driving while the officers were trying to flag him down, but he didn't speed up. He wasn't bobbing and weaving through traffic. He drove and eventually came to a very calm stop. Then the officers claimed that the gentleman threatened them. And even though you at one point in the video see several officers surrounding the guy, these guys have on body cameras, body mics. Nobody caught this supposed threat on camera. Also, one of the officers claimed that the gentleman bit him. The officer reported no injuries and had no medical attention. And they did say that the gentleman had some crack cocaine in his vehicle, but after choking and beating a guy and tasing him for pretty much not doing anything wrong, I can't say that the officers did plan it, but you know, I wouldn't put past somebody to try to cover their tracks for beating a man down for essentially nothing. But that's just these officers. We don't want to talk about all officers in general because there are plenty of good officers out there, like Sheriff Richard Mack, who came on the Alex Jones Show today. And he was talking about the militarization of the police, and he's saying he doesn't like the actions of the type of officers we just talked about here. But there are good officers out there, and one just recently lost his life. We have an officer in Wisconsin who engaged a bank robbery suspect and was killed during a shootout. And my condolences do go out to the family of this slain officer. And like I said, we do have good officers out there, but so often it's videos like what we just showed you that makes the news. But we do care about these officers when they encounter these types of situations. So we're talking about a car chase, but the EPA is chasing away muscle cars. You guys remember the big hot rods you saw in all the old movies, how the EPA killed muscle cars. And this is a good article that you can find on INFOWARS.com that goes through all the details. But I want to contrast this article with the EPA with this, a professor saying that electric cars cause more pollution. And this is a University of Toronto professor. He says owning an electric car in some Canadian provinces could actually be worse for the environment than conventional gas-powered automobiles. And he quotes Alberta, Saskatchewan, Nova Scotia, and he says electric cars generate more carbon pollution over their lifetimes than gas-powered cars. So you can compare and contrast those. I've heard that motorcycles put out a lot of emissions. So really, you just drive what you want to drive and let the chips fall where they may. And we're going to let the chips fall where they may for this segment, but we'll come back with more special reports. As I mentioned earlier, we'll have an interview with John McAfee of John McAfee's antivirus software, and also a report about PSYOPs being committed on the American people.
INFOWARS Life and INFOWARSLife.com is extremely excited to announce our latest release, Winter Sun, a revolutionary type of vitamin D3. Winter Sun is a premium quality vitamin D3 nutritional supplement. It is produced by extracting oil from healthy, nutrient-dense plants known as lichens. Every batch is analyzed for purity and D3 content. It's completely free of toxins and allergens. Simply put, if you want the best at an extremely low price, this is it. Winter Sun is the result of our pursuit of the best source of vitamin D3. The research and development took over 2 years, but the result, as verified by independent laboratories, is the best vegan vitamin D3 product in the world. Read the facts at InfoWarsLife.com about Winter Sun Vitamin D3. Not only does vitamin D3 promote a healthy mood, but vitamin D supports our memory and brain function, something the globalists are targeting. Visit InfoWars.com today or call 888-253-3139. Used since before the days of the Roman Empire to support the body's natural systems and enhance overall health. Introducing the new InfoWarsLife.com oil of oregano formulation, a highly advanced nutraceutical form of this key herb that has been traditionally used by civilizations for thousands of years to promote health. We have now procured the most high quality and potent forms of oregano oil on the market, sourced from top leading manufacturers to ensure a concentrated level of bioactive ingredients. Extracted directly from the wild herb and sealed in easy-to-use capsules, you will no longer need to endure the burning of liquid oregano on the tongue. Wild crafted from the Mediterranean oregano species that experts agree is one of the most powerful and most challenging to acquire. This winter season, it's more important than ever to secure this true form of oil of oregano. Now available in our limited first run at InfoWarsLife.com. That's InfoWarsLife.com or call 888-253-3139.
Back in February of 2012, USA Today writer Tom Vandenbroek and editor Ray Locker were targeted just days after contacting the owners of Leone Industries, a Pentagon-funded PSYOP contractor. Mysteriously, websites popped up, some of them claiming that Vandenbroek and Locker worked for the Taliban.
These journalists, they weren't even political. They were investigating some mine company corruption or something. But Leone's co-owner created a batch of fake websites, social media accounts, and a fraudulent Wikipedia page in an effort to smear the journalists. And basically, they created a whole set of fake websites that pretended to be fan websites of these journalists, and they just slowly turned them into complete outposts for smearing them, to try and discredit their investigations. And as is documented in this article, and I've written many articles about since 2008, basically the Pentagon has put out a raft of fake websites that are designed to look like independent media sources. They admitted this in 2008. I'm not making it up. You'll probably see many of them out there when you read the internet on a day-to-day basis. And it's all part of Cass Sunstein's cognitive infiltration of so-called conspiracy theorists and putting out disinformation to confuse people, lead them away from the truth, lead them down into dead ends, and make everything futile.
It wasn't just the fact that they had uncovered a PSYOP contractor that was given federal dollars regardless of the back taxes California-based Leone Industry owners owed. They were exposing the major PSYOP they were a part of, American PSYOP 101, a 2000 report from the desk of the Defense Science Board Task Force titled The Creation and Dissemination of All Forms of Information in Support of Psychological Operations, PSYOP, in Time of Military Conflict. This unclassified report is available in PDF form as a link in the description of the report you're listening to right now. The report details how PSYOPs were successful and unsuccessful in major PSYOP operations overseas. From this research, the task force found that military PSYOP offers a unique and powerful asset in military operations, both in peacetime and in war. Given the broad array of complex missions conducted by U.S. military forces, understanding the culture and preparation of the soft battle space is imperative to the conduct of successful operations. Members of the Defense Science Board Task Force include Dennis Bovin of Bear Stearns, Bran Farron of Walt Disney Imagineering, Paul Colazzi of DARPA, to name a few. The financial arena in bed with the entertainment industry, the robotics industry, and the Defense Department. One of the diagrams from the report describes how strategic military and tactical PSYOPs work. All signs of the times in the United States since 9/11 reeks of the genesis of a strategic PSYOP, which is now morphing into a military PSYOP, as indicated by the newly uncovered SOCOM document listing Utah, Texas, and Southern California as hostile areas.
So that's a trick. When something's supposed to be declassified, they'll still hide it. So now for 4 or 5 days, they've had the different publications, Stars and Stripes, military.com, and others going, we don't know if the document's real, but these conspiracy theorists, claim that we want to take over Texas and Utah this summer and martial law. We're not going to have martial law this summer.
You notice how they don't deny the operation, though, whatsoever? They just keep trying to, move the attention away from the fact that that's going on and just keep throwing out the conspiracy term and keep attacking us, so it takes people's attention off of the fact that there is a mission going to happen. Just like it says in the documents, they're not denying it.
Today's PSYOP force includes a small but dedicated cadre of country experts familiar with the cultures and fluent in the languages of their accounts. There is a small and equally dedicated cadre of production personnel operating a modest suite of production capabilities. One such dedicated cadre of production personnel is Obama supporter and major Hollywood mogul Harvey Weinstein, who is now shelling out films aimed at attacking the Second Amendment. I don't think we need guns in this country, and I hate it. And I think that the NRA is a disaster area, he said in an interview last year. They're gonna wish they weren't alive after I'm done with them. And now, Film Nation Entertainment has